what qualities do you look for? Like, what's important to you
Oh man.
in someone, finding someone?
Strong sense of self. Someone who has strong opinions. I mean, I don't want to say smart because that's just really general. Someone with a really good sense of adventure. I'm like super adventurous.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. Someone who's like down to do whatever. Someone who, so like I've had girls be like really jealous in the past. And I've been jealous in the past too.
Of your beautiful hair or what?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Definitely a factor.
Of something. But I've realized over time that like, you know, if you're with your girlfriend and, you know, you're out in public and some guy is hitting on her, like you could see it as an opportunity to like get insecure and get really angry at him and possibly angry at her. Or you can see it as an opportunity to show her kind of how secure you actually are, you know, like, which I think I've gotten better at, you know, recently, like not taking those type of things so personally and seeing it as an opportunity to show trust in someone. That's like the sexiest thing. Like,
You took the words right out of my mouth. It's the sexiest thing.
Totally.
And I learned that from my parents. Like my dad loves to talk, right? Just talks to a wall. But, you know, growing up as a kid, you have all the parents around, right? And I always noticed he'd always be talking to like someone's mom, right? And I would look at my mom and be like, oh, dad's talking to the mom. But he never did anything inappropriately. He was just talking, like, you know, any conversation. And my mom never even looked over, like, didn't care.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, my mom's really cool. Like,
Yeah, but I think your mother also knew that your father wasn't hitting on anybody. He could just talk to a wall.
Totally.
As though he's just having a chat constantly.
But to me, it was so cool that she was so secure that she never even peeked over to be like, oh, like, what's he doing?
because the moment that conversation ends, you know exactly who he's going to.
Yeah, and I think everybody
yeah.
else knew that too. And she felt so cool. Like, even if there was another mom who was trying to do something with him, he probably called it right away. I was like, no, walked away. And, you know, they both look cool walking away together.
I had a girlfriend who was like my longest term relationship, which was like, it was like 2.5 years or something,
That's
which
good
is
amount of time.
pretty long in a 23-year-old's life.
yeah.
Like that's a big chunk of my life. From like 18 to 21, basically we dated. And a pattern that I always recognized with her, and when I realized it was kind of the beginning of the end, whenever I became utterly present around groups of people where I wasn't worried about affecting things around me, but I was only worried about like expressing myself in the truest way, that's when she would get upset with me. And like I saw it, it was a pattern. Like the moment I would check out of like, oh, is she okay? Is this okay? Is the house okay? I would get like the wrath from her, and I would see it. And it would be crazy because I'd literally in my head be like, okay, I'm enjoying myself so much. And the moment I pay attention to her to enjoy myself with her, she would return it with like angst, kind of. And over time, I realized like, oh, this shit is actually beating me down. Like, I actually can't handle this. Like, someone who's not like willing to see me shine the best I shine. You know, not even talking about like career-wise or anything. I'm just talking about like right now, having like a super open conversation with you guys, like being utterly present. Like, yeah, she didn't like it. She didn't like it.
What do you think it was specifically? That she needed the attention, or that she thought you didn't care about her?
Yeah, it was just insecurity and like. I dated a lot of like actress girls before her, and they all know each other, and I think that just kind of started it out kind of bad. That
the circle of friends or the circle of people that you know can get quite good, because everybody here in Los Angeles, like you're saying, everybody knows everybody, especially within the creative industries.
Totally.
And also I feel like something about being, I mean, I was a model for a very long time. And people used to look at me and be like, how can you be insecure? I was like, we are some of the most insecure creatures on earth. Yeah. And actresses as well, actors. It's just because of the constant criticism that you're getting, and you let that seep into yourself, and then it kind of bleeds through to other areas. Yeah. So I feel her on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very astute of you to see that and get out of that situation. And I think...
Oh, it was not astute at the time.
No, but
that shit was not astute.
But no matter when it happens, at least you got out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think
it took a while, but yeah, it was one of the hardest times in my life, for sure.
Yeah, and I think super important is like you don't want anyone to change you, right? Like you are who you are, and like that's who you feel most comfortable being, and I think that's the most beautiful thing. You grow with somebody and you mold and evolve, and like, you know, you compromise, but if someone takes away you at your true self, that's not the person for you. Yeah. I think everyone needs to realize that, you know? Totally. And I think what you said is spot on.